Carolyn Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today I'm going to make a gel printed art journal page from start to finish, and I'm going to be using a bunch of gel plate goodies that Ranger sent over to me. They sent me their 3-pack of plates as well as some fun texture pattern making kinds of tools, so you're going to see those in action. And you're also going to see several oopsies. Yep, outstanding opportunities presenting suddenly. Because there was a plan, and this may not, I don't know if this has ever happened to you where you have a plan when you start playing and it does not go the way you expected pretty quickly. Well, my muse, it was an absolute conspiracy to get me to do something different. And it has to do a lot with that teal circle that's on there. And that teal circle, well, that was the best thing that could have happened to that page because that helped me finish up the page. You'll see it all in this video. Enjoy. So here's the 3-pack of plates. You've got a tall rectangular one, a smaller rectangle, and a circle. Now they chose wisely when they figured out their sizes that they wanted because the long tall one, it fits perfectly in the Dilutions journal. And the smaller rectangle works wonderfully with a tag, and of course the round one is always lots of fun. So what am I going to do with these? Well, I thought about using them all, and then I was completely called to the little round one. So that's what I'm going to play with. Now, what do I have that little round one stuck onto? Well, that's an acrylic stamp mount, and the gel plates stick wonderfully to them. So it basically makes it an easy way that I can handle it and flip it over. So I've put some paint on there, and I'm going to clean the brayer off just on a piece of scrapbook text. That way not a single drop of that wonderful color gets wasted. And then I'm just going to press it down where I want it. And one of the fun things about playing with a gel plate is that you get a ghost print or a second print a lot of the time. In this case, I really want to have, well, I've got a plan for how I want to do the circles here and the colors. So a lot of my ghost prints are going to go on that cleanup or scrap page. Now, by the way, what is it that I'm using to scoop the paint out of there from the dilutions onto the plate? Well, those happen to be some gel plate marking tools that Ranger also has. And they're designed to make marks in it, and you'll see how I use that in a minute, but I needed something to scoop out just a little bit of paint. They were right there, and they're doing the job perfectly. I'm going to do the next color, and here's the thing about where the circle's going to go. I want to place it fairly evenly spaced, which means it's going to go right over the fold of the journal. Now, that might mean that it's hard to get an even coverage there if I've got it on that stamp mount. So all I'm going to do is pull it off of there, and then I'm going to put it where I want it, and I'm going to press down especially over that crease or that fold. That way I can push the gel plate right in there into those nooks and crannies of the page. Well, oops, I didn't push it down everywhere, so what am I going to do? All I'm going to do is take that gel plate, flip it back around, and press down in any of those areas where there was some white showing. Now to get ready for the next color, what I'm going to do is simply take those ghost prints or take some quick little prints right there on my scrap paper. And in fact, as I clean off my brayer there, I realize I really love how that looks. So I'm just going to set it aside and go to the next page there for my cleanups. So I'm going to finish up this row of dots, and I want to let you know that there is a pattern to the colors going on. Pink, orange, yellow, pink, orange, yellow. Yeah, that's the pattern I'm going for, and you're about to see that. Well, you can guess what's about to happen with that, right? So as I add the next color on here, yellow, which is the next color in the pattern, I decided I want to put a little extra pattern making in it, so I'm going to use the mark making tools here, and I'm going to draw some very elaborate complex shapes that are geometrically perfect. Yeah, no, try a wonky, wobbly, circle-like thing. I'm going to have it hang off the edge. Why? Because I kind of felt like it. And so those circles that I draw on, well, they're really hard to see on camera, but I promise that they're there. As I go to a different color, they're going to show up a lot more because orange, well, it's darker than the yellow. Now, as I was focused on trying to get a color where the lines would really show up, yeah, I quit paying attention to what color came next in the pattern. All I had to do was keep track of 3 colors. And yep, here comes the oops, the outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly where I broke the pattern. This, quote, should have been pink if I stayed with the plan. But you know me, it's okay. So I broke the pattern. I'm going to roll with it. Because every time something like that happens, I know it's just an opportunity. And it turns out breaking the pattern was a huge opportunity for me for where this page is actually going to end up. So after I put the pink circle down, I had a bit of a quandary, because I didn't want to put yellow there, and obviously I couldn't put pink there. I mean, my goodness, could I actually put pink next to pink? I mean, oh. And then I really didn't want orange So I decided, you know what? I've got some other colors over there. Why am I just sticking with pink, orange, and yellow? I decided I was going to break the mold and do one in this color. Now, I was super excited about what this color was going to look like on here. I realized it would be a great pop on here. I was so focused on that. Guess what I didn't do? Oops, I broke the pattern again. Yeah, a lot of oopsies happening here on this page. Because the other three circles in this line, I had done sort of that round circly bullseye kind of thing, and I totally didn't do it on this one. Wasn't really my plan. Yep, it was an oops, but I am so thrilled that I did because of what ended up happening because of that at the end of this. But you'll see what happens with it. Now I've completely thrown out this whole idea of a pattern going on, and that really took a lot of the pressure off, so it's making it even more fun to do this. Now I have high hopes that the pattern is going to show up in the yellow for you on camera a little bit better this time, and well, no, not really, but in person it has a great pattern to it. Now when I'm adding paint to a plate, is there an exact amount that I'm adding? Absolutely not. I'm just putting some on there. Sometimes I put a little less, sometimes I put a little bit more. But the thing about it is it's extremely forgiving because like in this one, as I'm doing a little bit of sort of scribbling on it here with the mark making tool, I realized I could use just a little more paint on it. So I'm simply going to use the brayer that still had paint on it to just brayer over it. If I think I need more paint, I simply add it. If I think I have too much paint on there, I can brayer some of it off. So I've done some very loose sort of scribbled journaling type thing on there. And now I'm going to put it down to take the print. And what you can see in there is sort of a bit of a pattern from the writing. I'm not looking to make words here that anybody can read. What I'm looking is to make a sense of pattern. And you might notice some of my colors are mingling together. It really stands out on the yellow. Each one of the yellows is a slightly different color simply because, well, I don't get everything crystal crisp clean when I'm done. Now here I've got some orange on there and I've got the pattern on there. And after I take the first print with it, I have a ton of paint left, which is my ghost print, that second print. So much on there that I know that's going to make a gorgeous print. So what I'm going to do is clean off or tear off. It's not really clean off. It's a clean off sheet. I'm going to tear it off. And that way then I can take that print right there on that scrap paper, my cleanup paper, so you can see the power of the ghost prints. You get a different look from your first print to your ghost print, and that to me is part of the magic of what these plates can do. So everything you've seen me do so far is the first print is the one going in the journal. Could I put the ghost print in the journal? And the answer is absolutely. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to make the same kind of patterns that I've been doing in this row, some sort of loose scribbled journaling, kind of fun, scratchy little pattern and texture in there. And instead of putting it right on the page, what I'm going to do is just do a really light print over in that paper, which gives me a very juicy ghost print. And now I've got that print and more of the pattern will show up in the ghost print like this. So what is the right way to do this? Should you put it first in the journal and then ghost print somewhere else? Or should you put the ghost print first in the journal? That's the beauty of this stuff. There's no right way to do it, so that means there is no wrong way to do it. Whichever way makes you happiest, that's the way that you should do it. Now to do the last row of circles here, I'm going to use the texture combs. So putting on a layer of paint, just like I have for all the other circles, then what I'm going to do is remove some of the paint using the texture comb. So you can see a little bit of the pattern there on the edge there. They have several different patterns of these, and I'm simply going to drag it over the top. What it's doing is removing paint in those areas to create the pattern. Now, you can be very precise about this and make something very exact, or you can do it the loose and wonky way, which is my preference. Now, I kind of have to laugh that the plan that I was completely set on was based on color to start with. I was going to make an alternating color pattern with those three colors. But it turns out in the end, as I'm finishing up this last row, what it's really about is rows of patterns. And that was completely not on my radar when I started. Ooh, did I suddenly come from Boston? Wasn't what I was planning to do, but the muse completely redirected me. Now, she also redirected me to get over that color thing because of that one teal circle. Now, that's about to become very, very important because I've got this background. But what do you do with a background? How do I turn this into an art journal page? Well, it is all because of that teal circle. But before we get to that, let's take a closer look at what the ghost print looks like on this one. So I'm just going to print it right on a little square of white paper, and it's actually going to be a great size for me to use as embellish on an art journal page or a card or something like that down the road. But I just love the way the colors, the pink and the yellow were playing on there, so I totally had to take that ghost print. Now, if you're new to gel printing and you want to get really comfortable with it, if you want to really understand the hows and whys to make prints that you love, check out my workshop called Gel Printing Fundamentals. And in there, you'll learn everything that you need to know to make prints that take your breath away. So now I've got a background on an art journal page. What do I do? How do I turn it into a finished page? Well, I'm going to use a rubber stamp. And as I was doing this, I had to laugh at the voice in my head because it was absolutely trying to warn me, protect me from screwing this up, from making a mistake. I had to make sure that I did this right because if I stamp this on there, I'm going to stamp it right on the teal circle. And if I mess this up, well, everything's ruined. I mean, I had to laugh at this voice because it was almost as if I was trying to go for an Olympic medal or something and I wouldn't be able to do it for another 4 years. No, put a layer of paint over it. It's not a big deal. But luckily, I was able to stamp this just fine, so that voice in my head let out a big old sigh of relief. Now, I chose this stamp because of the attitude that she had. I loved that she's kind of got this look of like, yeah, I'm the teal dot in a world of pink and yellow and orange. So I decided that the word that needs to go with her is brave. And this one's also a Dina Wakley stamp, and so I'm just going to stamp the word right there because there she is being herself, standing out, being brave. Now there is one thing that I have learned when I'm stamping words is to test it out somewhere first to make sure that I've got the word right side up. So that's what I just did there, and now I'm going to get that word on her. And I'm thinking she's pretty close to finished. But she's not quite there yet. I want to get a little bit of loose scribbling around it, so I'm going to take one of Dina's scribble sticks, and I'm just going to put a loose circle around her. Now, I could stop there, but you know me, I've got to get more and more on stuff. Quite frankly, it's just a lot of fun to make those big movements, so I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to take colors that match the circles and go with the meaning of the page, because all of those circles are kind of like doing the safe thing. And she's standing out in that teal, so the safe thing to do with those circles is to put the color that matches them around them. Although, even attempting to do that, you know how I am with color, you've seen this video, so there are one or two where I actually use the not matching color with it. And guess what? Is that the end of the world? Actually, the voice in my head a little bit, it was trying to convince me it just might be. But, well, I knew it's just an oops, an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly, and guess what? The world is still just fine even though I've done this. Well, thanks so much for joining me for today's play. If you've been enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up, and of course, if you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll know as soon as I have a new video out. And you can find a complete supply list of all the things that I used over on the blog at acolorfuljourney.com. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.